Well, hello everybody. I'm Scott Kelby, and joining me here is Mr. Dave Cross.
Hey everyone.
And Matt Kloskowski.
Hi everybody.
And we are here on the set of Photoshop TV, but we are here to talk about Photoshop World. We kind of want to give you a little insight into what it's really like being at Photoshop World, kind of the Photoshop World experience, because, well, you're already here on the website, right? So you could already just, click a link and find out what the names of the classes are, and you could find out about different things that are going there. But what's it really like being at Photoshop World? Because it's not just a bunch of training classes, it's much, much more. So we're going to kind of just give you our little tour through Photoshop World.
Right, and it starts off actually the day before the official first day. There's actually an optional day of pre-cons. And these pre-cons are things you sign up for separately, and there's a whole bunch of them that can spend a little longer time. The normal classes are 1 hour, these are 4 hours, and they focus on a particular topic like Photoshop for beginners or digital painting or Photoshop and Illustrator. And it's a great way to get you started before the conference even really gets going.
Yeah, and people really love those. In fact, both Matt and Dave are teaching those pre-conferences, and it's a kind of great way to kick off the Photoshop World experience. So the morning of Photoshop World, which is the day after the pre-conferences, the first thing in the morning is our opening keynote kickoff, and this thing sets the tone for the entire show. So we do it up pretty big. Every year we have a theme. Some of our themes in the past have been CSI, and we've had an NBA basketball theme, and we've done a NASCAR theme, boxing and all. And they're all, of course, geared towards Photoshop. Well, this year we have kind of a Motown theme, so it's going to be a lot of music, and it's just, the opening keynote is a mixture of message and fun, and to kind of give you an idea of what Photoshop World's going to be like. Of course, the keynote is hosted by Adobe, so you're going to be hearing from Adobe directly from them, and they always seem to sneak some really cool thing into the keynote. And honestly, it electrifies the entire conference and lets everybody know that we are here to learn Photoshop, and we're going to learn a load of it, but we're going to have a blast doing it.
Now, when you finish the keynote, what you'll do is there's two classes right after that, or two conference sessions, I should say. So before the Tech Expo floor opens, that opens about 1, you'll finish up with the keynote around 10:30, and you'll go right to a class. And then at that point, you have a choice of 5 different classes to go through for an hour from 10:45 to 11:45. And then you get to go to another class. And then that takes you right up until the actual Tech Expo floor where it opens. Now, that's probably, I gotta say, me personally, that's one of my favorite places to go, especially that first day, because there's not only, you get to see all the cool stuff around the Photoshop industry, but there's constant learning going on that day. There's everybody's got a booth, everybody's got somebody speaking about something in digital photography, lighting, Photoshop, you name it, it's in there. Everybody's got somebody. So it's a very good time to just walk around that Tech Expo floor that first day. And honestly, I'm kind of beating it to death, but honestly, people stay there right until the thing closes on the first day. It's that cool.
Oh yeah, because all the big names in the industry are there. I mean, everybody, Adobe's got a big booth, of course, and Epson and Wacom and Microsoft and on and on and on. So you just go from booth to booth checking out the cool stuff and watching demos and
Plus, there's
training.
actually 2 show floor theaters.
That's
where
right.
There's on additional training, even though the actual classes are finished for the day, there's on the show floor training sessions around the whole time that the trade show is on.
Absolutely, it goes from morning till night. So now, after that day's training, after the show floor closes, it's party time. So go straight to the party. Now, this year in Boston, we've got an incredible venue for the party. It's called Jillian's. It is like, the best way to describe it is a 3-story Chuck E. Cheese for adults, because it's got games, it's got pool, it's got adult beverages, it's got all kinds of stuff. But we went to Boston a couple years ago, and we went back to Boston because it was one of the best places we've ever done Photoshop World, because of where the convention center is and just the area and just the people of Boston. We just had a blast. But Jillian's is where I wanted the party 2 years ago. We couldn't get in there because they were already booked, because it's the coolest place to have a party in Boston. But at the party, you're going to be hanging out with the instructors and your fellow students. And honestly, that's one of the biggest things about Photoshop World is it's a great place to make Photoshop friends, industry contacts, and people you can call and say, hey, how do you do this? So we always hear from attendees that it's some of the after-hours stuff is just as important to them as what they learn in the day.
That's right. Well, and I think that's a really important note about the whole networking side, because we hear from a lot of people that one of their favorite things, along with bringing home a giant workbook with all the notes from all the sessions, is contacts they've made where they can exchange emails and exchange questions and share ideas with just some other attendees they've met as well.
That's right. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because you can do it a workbook, and the workbook has the handouts for the classes that you take, so you're not taking notes the whole day. But it's not really a workbook. We kind of jokingly call it a phone book, because it's about this thick. I mean, it's a
900 pages.
It's 900 pages. So that comes, of course, with your conferences. So even if you don't get to a class, you're still going to have the notes from it. So that's kind of cool. So the next day, you get up in the morning and you have breakfast and things. But then finally you get to Photoshop World that morning. Now, this day is just nothing but training all day long. Now, the Tech Expo is still open.
Yeah.
So if you between classes and at lunch and whatever, you can run over to the Tech Expo. But this is the day where we really load up on classes. But picture this, okay? So it's one day of training. And so in the morning, you could easily go and watch a class on retouching, on skin retouching from Katrine Eisman. Then the next class, you could head over to Burt Monroy and watch him teach you using Photoshop and Illustrator together. Then after lunch, you could drop into Dan Margulis's class and learn lab color from the man who wrote the book on lab color. Then you leave there, go over to Deacon McClellan's class, catch some advanced sharpening techniques, and then end up the day with a class from Julianne Koss on how to composite images in Photoshop.
Not a bad day.
That's just one day. And, so that's what the experience is like, is you're looking at all these classes and going, here's the class that interests me, here's the trainer I want to see, and you can put together just an unbelievable schedule.
Hey, I'll kind of close this up with a couple FAQs that, Dave and I often go to the NAP forums and we get emails from people. A couple things people always want to know is, so what's it like to be there? Where should I stay? If you could stay, and we can all say, we don't get a penny if you stay at the hotel. If you can stay at the hotel, though, that's where everybody's kind of hanging out there. Everybody goes down to the bar for a beverage or two after the classes.
Mostly Matt.
But that's where everybody hangs out, and you'll just be sitting there, and somebody will walk up, and you can start talking because you have something in common with them. A couple other things. Some people bring their laptops because they're able to put what they learned during the day. They really can't wait till they get home, so they bring a laptop so they can do it either during the class or after. But that's another thing that people ask often. And
oh, I got one.
Oh, go.
How about the help desk? We have a thing called the Photoshop help desk where you go and the instructors between classes will go to this help desk and you can walk up and ask the same trainers that you just saw training in the class to one-on-one questions to get your questions answered. And I'll tell you one thing about the Photoshop World instructors. Dave, Matt, and I, we handpicked the instructors for Photoshop World. And I can tell you that we pick them with a criteria in mind, and that is we pick instructors that live to teach. It's a passion for them, and they want to answer your questions. Anytime you're in the show, anytime, anywhere you go, you can stop any instructor, and it's amazing how helpful and friendly and approachable these icons in the industry are. And there's like over 40 instructors, and they are 40 of the best, most talented, most creative instructors, and they're all there for one reason, to make you better at Photoshop.
Right. And now, I don't know if this is a bonus or not, but we'll also be filming an episode of Photoshop TV live, and that could or not be considered a good thing. I'm not sure.
It's live,
it's always a little interesting, but it's fun if nothing else.
It's sketchy. But anyway, I guess the main thing is we want you to come and hang out with us. Of course, I'm teaching, Dave's teaching, Matt's teaching. It's going to be a great conference, and it won't be the same if you're not there. If you've never been to a Photoshop World, ask anybody who's been. We have people that have been to 12 and 13 and 14 Photoshop Worlds in a row because they'll go East Coast, West Coast, East Coast, West Coast every year because there's so much to learn at every one. And of course, in every conference, we've added a lot of new things. So we have new instructors, new classes, new fun stuff, and we hope that you'll join us there. So on behalf of myself, Scott Kelby, and my buddy Dave Cross,
hope to see you there.
My other buddy Matt Kloskowski,
take care.
I hope you'll join us in Boston for Photoshop World. And so while you're here, go ahead and click that registration button, and we'll see you there. Thanks very much, and hope to see you in Boston.